Hi, this is Cheryl from the Cut at Home design team. Today I have some fun Easter cards for you featuring Lawn Fawn products, some stamps and some dies. So I have first my bunny and my tulips and some little birds or chicks. And then I have a little selfie of a bunny rabbit who unfortunately somebody took a bite out of. You're irresistible. What a fun sentiment. Both of those are based on a Lawn Fawn stamp set, Extra Special Easter. And so we've got the You're Irresistible sentiment up there. Have an extra special day. I love that. And Happy Easter is the sentiments. Lots of fun little elements that can be used to build a great card. To supplement that, because I wanted some little chicks or birds in there, I grabbed the Hello Sunshine stamp set from Lawn Fawn. Again, for these little guys down here, I think they're supposed to be little birds, but they're kind of look like little chicks too. Each of these stamp sets has a set of coordinating dies that goes with it, and I use those as well. You can see this is what I do for storage, where I have stamp and die sets that coordinate. I put a piece of magnet in and I just store those stamps right with the store the dies right with the stamps. That way they don't get separated from one another. You're not searching for two things, only one. Some of the other dies that I used, let me show you the cards and we'll look specifically at what's going on here. It may be kind of hard to see on screen because of the green on green. Maybe you can see it up in the blue areas better, but I've got a little bit of a stitched border going on here on my inner layer. I used lawn cuts, Lawn Fawn essentially, small stitched rectangle stackables for that. I've used the large one there. Makes a perfect layer for an A2 card. So it adds that stitch detail, which is so popular right now. It just gives a fun and cute finish to the card. I also have a couple of layers here of my green, simulating hills or grass or whatever. I'm using the stitched hillside borders dies from Lawn Fawn for that. Whoa, what the heck? How do I use those? That's a little bit confusing sometimes, isn't it? But very easy to do. The first thing I did was I took my small stitched rectangle, the largest size, the same one that I cut from blue over here, and I cut one out of green because I wanted the stitch detail to be consistent all around this layer, and in order to do that I needed to cut that layer. And then I took two of these, and it doesn't matter which of the stitched hillside borders you pick, you just pick two of them, and I cut one from each end, making sure the stitching side was going to come out at the bottom, and then also would be reflective here. For the layer behind, you don't really need to go all the way down. I did, but you could just have a small piece as long as it's hidden by this layer. Again, you want to use different borders, different levels of grade with your ground technique there, just to make sure that it stands out and it gives you some added dimension for your card. Again, very easy dies to use, even though they look a bit maybe scary at first. Super easy to use. And so the bunny and the tulips were all from the Extra Special Easter set. Easy peasy. I just stamped those, the bunny onto white cardstock and then onto purple cardstock because I just wanted to fussy cut his little bow to be decorative there. Of course, I could have colored it too. Either one would work. I added a little bit of pink at his nose and his ears using one of my Copic markers, but you could color it with anything. My little chicks, again, come from the Hello Sunshine stamp set, so I just stamped those onto a kind of orangey yellow cardstock and then added a little bit of an orange beak, maybe really hard to see there, just to give them a little bit of life. And I did some tulips here. So I stamped the tulip first on green paper and then on red. I cut the little red heads off my red tulips. There, my tulip is moving. And placed it onto the green. And so I have just a fun fun tulip set going on back there. So this one's all paper pieced, all very super easy peasy. My clouds and my sun come from this Hello Sunshine die set. They're all back there. Again, I didn't have to do too much work. I considered stamping the sun. I might have done that, for example, in an orange. It may be kind of hard to see here, but I have this kind of houndstooth pattern going on in my yellow here, and I was afraid it would be too much, so I decided to let that stand on its own. It was a fun card to do, and super easy. For my little Happy Easter sentiment here, I stamped it, and then I used my Ranger Super Fine Detail Clear Embossing Powder. This will work with whatever color ink you're working on. It gives it just a little bit of light dimension. It enhances any sentiment. It's not that heavy embossing that sometimes you see. This is just light, and it really brings out what you're working on. So I kind of enjoy using that when I'm doing sentiments and things like that, just to, again, give it a little oomph to it. So that's this card. Very easy to do. Again, I added it to the plain green background. Obviously, there's so many other things that you could do with this. It's a fun and versatile set. It's also a great set for coloring, both of them. Both of these stamp sets would work ideally if you want to get your Copics or your colored pencils out and color as well. There's so many alternatives. I love the little eggs down here with the jelly beans and the Easter basket. There's so many more cards left in this stamp set that I haven't done yet. Here's my second card, my little Irresistible Bunny. He's also from the extra special Easter set. So he was easy to do. I used a couple of different Lawn Fawn die sets for this one. I used the Say Cheese little photo frame here, and I used a banner from the Large Stitch Journaling Tag set for this particular card. Again, my bunnies from the extra special Easter set. I stamped him on brown, and I stamped him on this teal blue, cut out the bow and glued it on. This time I used, instead of a Copic marker, because that color is so sheer, I used a glaze pen to add the little pink nose and the pink detail to his ear. It worked quite well in order to give me color that I could see, and it worked out, again, fairly well. For my You're Irresistible, this was designed by Lawn Fawn to be a long sentiment, and I knew that wasn't going to fit on my banner. I really wanted the 2-layer here. I kind of like that look better than something that stretches the entire length of the card. So I just took my scissors and cut it. I cut the 2 pieces, You're from Irresistible. I laid them out on my stamp block as I wanted them to work, and there you go. Very easy peasy. Obviously I can put them back together if that's what I choose for another card, but for this one I like the 2-step process on my little banner, and I thought it worked well. Again, it's so easy peasy to do these things. Note when I put the little photo frame here on the card, I added just a little bit of the teal border in the background just to make it stand out a little bit. Not always necessary, but sometimes it's those little steps that add so much to the card. Otherwise, maybe the problem that I had was I felt like the photo frame was sort of blending into the background, and I wasn't too much a fan of that. So super easy cards today. It's always easy when you start out with quality supplies. I love the Lawn Fawn stamp sets and die sets because there's so many alternatives, lots and lots of different things you can do with them. These are perfect Easter cards for those teens and tweens, even for younger kids, and they're good for kids of all ages. I wouldn't hesitate to give these to some older people in my life as well, to just bring a little sunshine and make them smile a little bit. Bright colors are always good for that, especially given the winter that we've had this year. So thanks for joining me today. Be sure and check out the Lawn Fawn stamps and dies. They're great, great products. I know you'll have a lot of fun with them. Bye.